Have you ever wondered why we sometimes follow the crowd, even when our inner voice disagrees? The silent force of herd mentality shapes many of our daily choices, but mastering true independence requires stepping beyond its unseen pull. In this video, you'll discover how Stoic wisdom can set you free from the collective sway, leading you to decisive, calm self-mastery. How to resist herd mentality like a Stoic. Independent Stoic thinking. Compiled and published by Stoic Mindfulness. Lesson 1. Recognize the crowd's hidden influence. Imagine standing at the edge of a quiet forest just before dawn, every breath of wind urgent with promise and uncertainty. In the hush, you sense it, an unseen current pulling at your thoughts, like ripples spreading beneath the surface of a still pond. You tell yourself you're making your own decisions, listening to your heart, or weighing each choice logically. But sometimes, inside the silent moments between pulses, you realize certain paths are directly shaped by a force you can't quite name. This invisible hand is the crowd itself, a silent web of glances, whispers, and expectations, weaving its patterns into the fabric of your mind, pulling you in ever so gently, promising belonging at the cost of authenticity. For so many, the struggle begins here. You sense within yourself the desire to walk a path that feels right, a wish to hold steady in your values, to master your emotions and not be swept away by the fevered pulse of the mob. Yet when you stand among many, whether in a school, a workplace, a family gathering, or even among strangers, your senses tune unconsciously to the voices around you. Approval becomes a subtle drug. Conformity grows comfortable, like the embrace of a warm river flowing in a familiar direction. The crowd's influence is rarely brutal or overt. Rarely do you hear the command to follow or conform. Instead, it enters through small shifts in thinking, little doubts about your own worldview, a glance at what everyone else believes, or the tentative hope not to stand apart in awkward difference. It tempts you with acceptance, while gently dulling the sharp courage required for true independence. The cost can be steep. You drift from your own best self, compromise your truest feelings, and eventually lose not only your independence, but the silent joy that springs from mastery of your own mind. The problem for many is this. It is difficult to admit, even briefly, how deeply our surroundings shape us. We want to believe we are awake at the helm, untroubled by the noisy crowd. But think about the last time you changed your mind simply because it was popular, or silenced yourself to avoid standing out. This is an old story, repeated every day, and behind it is a pain that Stoics of centuries past saw clearly. If you yield your mind to the crowd, you give away your greatest power, the ability to choose with courage and honor. Your fears, doubts, or the longing to be accepted, these dynamisms flare up, often without warning, with each unexpected glance or unspoken expectation, undermining the silent discipline you work so hard to build. But imagine a different way. Picture a disciplined archer, poised under a starless sky, not distracted by unseen watchers, nor the echoing noise around. His focus is unwavering, rooted in his core. This is where the Stoic finds power, in recognizing the subtle strands of outside influence and gently, bravely holding distance from them, so that every arrow of action is aimed true. The solution is accessible to everyone who longs for mastery. The first step is to become aware, truly aware, of the invisible pressures shaping your actions and feelings. This isn't done by harshly condemning others or isolating yourself, but through a quiet cultivation of your own awareness and emotional discipline. Each day, you take a small moment, before reacting or rushing with the tide, to pause, breathe, and recognize the outside voices for what they are. External, not essential. When you identify this hidden pressure, you unmask the subtle puppeteer tugging at your strings. You unlock the gate to standing still in the wildest crowd, like a silent fire that burns undaunted beneath the surface, radiating out quiet strength. As you practice seeing these currents for what they are, you begin to reclaim your space at the center of your life. It may feel subtle at first, a gentle conviction to speak honestly, a brave disinterest in the latest fad, a peaceful defiance when others demand conformity. But this is the start of real transformation. Each act of noticing, each moment of not yielding, trains your mind to value what is true and right, above what is merely popular or safe. By recognizing the crowd's hidden influence, you set the foundation for real emotional control. The Stoic impact you cultivate here is not noise or outward glory, but an undefinable attraction, an inner power that quietly speaks of fear overcome, mind unlocked, and an undefeatable freedom anchored deep within. Whatever path you walk, this unseen fire will go with you, lighting your journey far beyond the reach of anyone else's approval. Start your journey by noticing one moment today when the crowd's influence tries to shape your response. Then deliberately pause, breathe, and choose your own reaction. As you practice this small step daily, your emotional strength will grow, confidence will deepen, and a lasting sense of inner freedom will emerge. Reflect each day on where you resisted, and celebrate every instance of personal courage. These will soon ripple out, changing every corner of your life. Remember, every act of self-awareness moves you closer to mastering emotion and strengthening your core. Next, we will explore how to strengthen your inner compass daily so you can navigate any situation unwavering. If you found this helpful, subscribe, like, and share your own story in the comments to help our Stoic community continue growing. Lesson 2. Strengthen your inner compass daily. Picture a solitary ship braving a spectral ocean beneath a starlit sky. The vastness is daunting, the silence broken only by the ship's determined progression forward, guided not by voices but by a compass glowing softly in the captain's palm. Your mind is just such a vessel, always crossing the open waters of experience, carried by currents you can sense but never see. In life, it is easy to lose direction amidst swirling tides of distraction or doubt. We want to remain steady, guided by a clear purpose, but the horizon blurs when we face pressure, uncertainty, or temptation to follow a path not truly our own. Every day brings new winds that threaten to throw us off course, whispering doubts about our abilities or pulling our gaze toward easier waters, where avoidance and approval flow more easily than resolution and truth. This is a universal struggle. Within each of us, there are moments when decisions feel monumental, yet our resolve is tested by the quiet tug of uncertainty and old fears. At times, your emotional discipline can feel fragile. One criticism, one temptation, one unexpected event can make your inner compass spin with confusion. Maybe you've stood at a crossroads, your mind clouded with so many options that none feel right. Perhaps you find yourself easily swayed by the energy of the room or lose sight of your values in the face of daily frustrations. It can feel as if no amount of preparation readies you for the barrage of feelings and shifting priorities that fill your days. The result is a sense of drifting, where your actions respond not to your highest ideals, but to the changing moods of those around you, or the fleeting emotions stirring within. The root of this problem is ancient and deeply human. We want the clarity of purpose, but life is filled with noise and movement that can scramble our sense of direction. Stoics saw this clearly centuries ago. They believed every person carries a spark, an inner guide, steady and unaffected by the riot of the external world. This is your moral compass, your unwavering sense of what matters most, and it holds the secret to self-mastery and silent strength. However, this compass does not automatically point true north every morning. Like any instrument that endures storms and salt spray, it must be cared for, recalibrated, and trusted, especially when the way ahead is foggy and uncertain. The transformative solution is deceptively simple. Make a habit of nurturing your inner compass through daily reflection, honest questioning, and small acts of practiced discipline. Each day, for just a few moments, pause and briefly turn your attention inward. Quiet the outer noise, the flood of opinions, anxieties, and emerging crises, and allow yourself to check in with that still point at the center of your being. Ask yourself, what did I do today that felt right and true? Where did I compromise or react without thought? This first step taps ancient wisdom that is very much alive today. Consistent self-examination strengthens your self-control, tuning your emotional state so you respond deliberately rather than impulsively. As this practice becomes part of your routine, it works on you in subtle, profound ways. You become less reactive to criticism or praise, no longer thrown off balance by storms that would have set you adrift before. More importantly, you gain a rare confidence that draws others, marked by a steadiness that is attractive, subtle, and undeniably impactful. Your self-discipline gains the force of habit, like the archer whose hands grow ever steadier through repetition, or the flame that glows brighter with regular tending. Over time, these small daily calibrations train your mind to maintain course, even in unfamiliar waters. The struggles that once unraveled you now reveal your inner resolve. You move with conviction, making tough decisions without drowning in waves of emotion or self-doubt. Each day you nurture your inner compass, the results multiply. You experience a sharper clarity, calmer emotions, and a persistent sense of power that rises quietly from within, victorious and unshakable. The wisdom of the ancients becomes present and personal as you practice. Stoic strength embedded alive in your own daily journey. Begin tonight by taking 5 peaceful minutes to reflect on your choices and jot down one value-driven action from your day. Repeat this reflection daily. Soon you'll notice clearer decisions, steadier emotions, and newfound inner strength. Embrace this practice and grow gently each day. In our next lesson, you'll learn to question trends without emotional bias. Like, comment, and subscribe to journey further with us. Lesson 3. Question trends without emotional bias. Picture a bustling market at dawn, the stalls glowing lantern bright, each vendor crying out the promise of something you must not miss. Streams of people gather, drawn by excitement and urgency, their eager footsteps writing new patterns into the dusty earth. In these moments, the world seems hungry for what is newest and loudest. Yet at the edge, a figure stands still, silent, calm, observing the scene with the steady patience of a seasoned archer eyeing an unseen target. There is wisdom in that pause, the willingness to step back, while the river of influence rushes past, reminding us it is possible to stand apart, unmoved by the fever of the crowd. Within each of us, there is a quiet tension when we're confronted by trends, collective opinions, or popular beliefs. Part of you genuinely wants to belong, to ride the rising wave and share in its energy. At the same time, you notice discomfort lurking underneath, the uneasy sense that you are being swept along, not out of clarity or conviction, but simply to escape the anxiety of being left out. How many times have you felt the pressure to try the latest thing, follow the loudest voice, or publicly agree with ideas you barely know? More than once, no doubt, fear of missing out or not measuring up threatens to override your deeper judgment. You might feel a spike of insecurity, an inner flame of urgency, or even envy for the people who jump confidently onto every bandwagon. It is normal, but so often this chase does not lead to lasting fulfillment. The challenge is universal. Trends promise certainty, and following a movement often brings comfort. But when you move with the crowd to escape discomfort, you risk trading away your autonomy for empty validation. Over time, decisions made from emotional bias, approval-seeking, anxiety, envy, chip away at your own discipline and dilute who you are. Instead of responding from clarity, you begin to react from emotion. It becomes easier to snatch at quick fixes or shortcuts, losing yourself to shifting circumstances, and soon even your own likes and dislikes seem uncertain. Emotional bias clouds the mind, turning moments of opportunity into seeds of regret because the real compass of your inner values is replaced by the weather vane of popular sentiment. Waves of desire or fear surge in, and suddenly you are carried wherever the latest trends pull you. But there is another way. The Stoic solution shines like a lamp in the storm. Pause and practice objective questioning in the face of every new trend or collective action. This isn't about becoming cynical or retreating from the world, but about living with deliberate awareness. Before you act, step out of the emotional current and ask yourself important questions with cool confidence. Do I truly believe this is right for me, or am I reacting to my own fear, envy, or longing for approval? The act of honest inquiry cuts through the noise like an archer's arrow splitting the air, silent and precise, revealing motivations that hide beneath your first reactions. When you engage your mind in this way, you stop letting emotions drive your choices, and instead begin to uncover your own quiet certainty. This skill is ancient, yet wholly alive. When you welcome this inner detachment, you hurt less, regret less, and act with enduring strength. Your mind becomes less reactive, and the arrows you release hit closer to your chosen target. As you learn to resist the pressure to blindly follow trends, you experience real emotional mastery. Calmness and resilience grow in the empty spaces where anxiety and envy once lived. Judgment becomes clearer, discipline more natural, fulfillment more lasting. By making this questioning a habit, you transform from a leaf tossed in the wind to a rooted tree withstanding any passing storm. The power does not lie in rejecting every trend, but in evaluating each one on your terms, unlocking your ability to remain steady, fearless, and silently inspiring. The world watches those who stand apart, who speak with the quiet urgency of truth, and live from the disciplined soul burning untarnished at their center. Next time a new trend calls, pause and calmly ask yourself if it truly serves your values or only your urges. Write down your answer, then act from this clarity. This simple habit will sharpen your self-mastery, anchor your mind, and boost your quiet power. In the next lesson, discover how embracing stillness empowers every choice. Please like, comment, and subscribe to shape our Stoic community with your insights. Lesson 4. Embrace stillness before every choice. Imagine a lake at sunrise. Its waters so calm that every stone, cloud, and flash of light above is mirrored without distortion. In this pure, silent moment, nothing stirs the surface. Pause and breathe in this vision, for it is here, in this mirror of tranquility, that true mastery of self begins. Life, however, is rarely so serene. Choices rise before us like stones thrown into that lake, splashing up waves of uncertainty, anxiety, or habit. Before the surface even settles, the next decision is upon us, another ripple, another disturbance, and all the while our true reflection is lost, blurred in the rush. How often do we act without even glimpsing the core of the moment? Deep inside, many of us hunger for this sense of stillness. When faced with decisions, whether big or small, emotions often flare. Fear, excitement, pressure from others or from our own past stories. You might feel yourself making choices quickly just to relieve discomfort, snapping back a reply in anger, saying yes to obligations out of guilt, or pursuing what others desire for you to avoid difficult questions. Afterwards, when the water finally calms, regret sometimes settles in, and you wonder why you reacted without thinking. There is a hidden cost. That quickness to act, skipping the pause between stimulus and response, erodes your discipline and steals the satisfaction that only thoughtful choices can bring. The rushed mind endlessly chases circumstances, and so that inner lake never knows rest or clarity. This struggle is so common that it can appear invisible, a force as old as time, disguised in modern busyness. Underneath the daily hustle is a relentless pressure to decide fast, to solve problems before anyone else does, and to avoid being left behind by slower, more reflective souls. It is easy to believe that moving quickly makes us stronger. Yet, in abandoning the habit of stillness, we actually give away our greatest power, the ability to respond wisely, to act from our unshaken center, rather than from impulse or the noise outside. The sages and Stoics knew this well, teaching that a disciplined pause is not weakness, but a rare and undefeatable show of strength. So how do you retrieve this stillness in the chaos of ordinary living? The solution is gentle and within reach. Before every meaningful choice, simply step back, even if only for a few breaths, and let your mind become still. It is like calming the heart before you release the arrow, or letting the mist lift before you chart your passage across a wide, silent sea. In that quiet gap, your most authentic instincts and values have space to rise, clear of whatever noise just filled your head. The fire within, once obscured by emotional wind, burns brighter, and by its light, you see new possibilities. This pause is both ancient and incredibly modern, a small deliberate act that renews your power of self-control. It unlocks doors to wisdom, means you are not mastered by fleeting emotions or expectations, and pulls you away from the undertow of those around you. Your choices then feel firmer, infused with peace and conviction, drawing the respect and curiosity of others. Imagine the benefits. Each moment of pause rewires your reaction from impulsive to intentional. Your emotions become quieter, no longer the storm that rules your course, but the weather you learn to notice and then gently set aside. You become that silent Stoic force, not easily shaken, quietly attractive, unmistaken for anyone ruled by the currents of the world. In every still moment, you train your mind and reclaim what is truly yours. A calm confidence that foretells success, fulfillment, and an innate power difficult to describe, but easy for others to recognize. Even as life's stones keep falling, you learn to reclaim the mirror and see yourself anew in its depth each time. The next time you face a decision, pause and take 3 slow breaths before responding. Notice how calm and focus return, helping you act from wisdom, not impulse. With practice, your choices will reflect confidence and control. Embrace this journey. Up next, learn how anchoring decisions in your core values builds unshakable purpose. Subscribe and share your reflections below. Lesson 5. Anchor decisions in core values. Picture standing at the crossroads of a dense, ancient forest as sunrise burns softly through morning mist. The world is still, and faint paths stretch before you in every direction, some trodden and obvious, others barely revealed by a glimmer among the roots. The urge to move, to act quickly and not hesitate is strong. Yet true power lies not in rushing ahead, but in rooting yourself deeply in what guides you beneath the surface. Like a towering tree drawing sustenance from soil invisible yet vital. In life too, decisions can feel like daunting forks in the road. Every choice weighed down by expectations, fears, and the echo of others' voices. The deepest victory comes not from merely choosing, but from choosing with clarity, anchored in the unshakable core of your values. This is a conflict every conscious soul encounters, especially those committed to self-mastery, discipline, and making a lasting impact. You strive to be emotionally steady and personally effective, yet sometimes decisions stir up storms within. There are moments when doubt and desire compete, each calling you in a different direction. It could appear as the temptation to take shortcuts for quicker gain despite your principles. It might arise when friends or colleagues urge you toward an action that feels wrong. Sometimes, even silence is a decision that bears weight when your values nudge you to speak out. What happens, more often than people admit, is an uneasy anxiety, a tug-of-war between moments of ease and moments of integrity. The discomfort grows when you look back and realize a decision you made, possibly without much thought, left you with a regretful aftertaste or chipped away at the respect you hold for yourself. One of the greatest challenges is this steady erosion of self-trust. As you face daily decisions, some loud, some silent, without a clear sense of your core values, you may feel as if you are steering by anyone's light but your own. The world provides endless prompts: approval, quick rewards, fear of missing out, and demands for compromise. In this crowded exchange, the still, quiet voice of your own guiding principles can become muffled, replaced by a shifting need to please others or avoid discomfort. This is how people drift, little by little, from the person they sense they could become, a person with gravity, resilience, calm, and genuine authority. The transformative solution is both timeless and within reach. Anchor every decision, big or small, in the firm ground of your own values. Just as a ship lowers anchor before a storm to avoid being dashed against hidden rocks, so too can you press pause before choosing, call to mind what matters most, and check your intended action against these anchors. This process does not require endless searching or heroic moments. All it needs is the habit of self-inquiry. Ask yourself, does this align with what I believe is true, right, and worthwhile? When this becomes your way, each decision transforms into an act of strength and self-respect, a quiet declaration that you are not swayed by every outside wind or fleeting emotional tide. Imagine the transformation. With each choice rooted in your values, your emotional life settles. Your mind feels less scattered. Decisions begin to feel less like battles and more like clarifying rituals, pruning away fear or confusion, leaving only what is lasting and true. Others sense your steady presence and naturally look to you as a beacon, one who acts not from bravado or passivity, but with calm confidence and clarity. Like a silent fire burning strong in winter darkness, your impact grows not in noise, but in the quality of still, unwavering conviction. This power is ancient, a signature of the authentic Stoic and disciplined mind, but it is just as alive and accessible for you now as it was for the oldest seekers of wisdom. In practical life, this anchoring will unlock reserves of courage and help you overcome fear and hesitation, revealing just how undefeatable and attractive a well-centered spirit can become. Whenever faced with a decision today, pause and ask, does this truly match my core values? Record your feelings after choosing. As this habit grows, you'll notice stronger confidence and deeper peace in every moment. Practice this daily and see your self-mastery flourish. Next, we'll uncover how to stand firm amid peer pressure. Subscribe and share your insights to support our mindful community. Lesson 6. Stand firm amid peer pressure. Picture an ancient mountain swept by winds, its rocky summit standing against centuries of storms. The sky above may darken and thunder may unfurl along wild ridges, yet the peak remains, motionless and anchored in the earth. This mountain is a living emblem of resilience, a strength born not just in force but in unwavering alignment to its core. Human life often tests us with similar storms, not of wind and rain, but of expectations, judgments, and the subtle yet relentless pressure from people around us. Each of us yearns to embody the quiet power of that mountain, to withstand the fierce winds of popular opinion without losing our footing or sacrificing the truth we hold inside. It's a familiar inner struggle. You want to master your emotions, to respond with discipline rather than react in fear or the need to please. Yet, when friends, colleagues, or even loved ones urge you toward conformity, sometimes boldly, sometimes through silent expectation, you may feel a tangle of anxiety, anger, or even shame. Maybe you have agreed with a group just to avoid being singled out, sensing your own boundaries trampled or blurred. You might shrink your words to fit in, let your silence mask disagreement, or laugh at things you don't truly support. The discomfort that follows can run deep, a mixture of regret for not being honest, worry that you are losing yourself little by little, and frustration that standing alone feels both noble and painfully difficult. Emotional mastery turns into a daily battleground between your wish to remain true and your desire for connection or simple peace. Peer pressure isn't always loud. Sometimes it is a soft current drawing you off your path, a raised eyebrow, an in-joke, a sense that belonging requires you to shed the parts of yourself you value most. Over time, the tiny concessions, compromising on values, remaining silent when you want to speak, adjusting your behavior to match the crowd, can erode your sense of worth. You may start to doubt your judgment, treat your inner voice with distrust, and worry you are somehow wrong for not fitting perfectly into every group setting. The result is fatigue within your soul. If left unchecked, even the strongest wills can falter, yearning for relief from the invisible but powerful tension that comes from resisting the pull of conformity every single day. Here, ancient Stoic wisdom becomes the lantern in your night. The transformative solution lies in building your own inner ground, rooted daily with intention and clarity. Like the silent mountain, you develop a practice of self-alignment. Before entering any social storm, return to your core values. Remind yourself who you are and what you believe. Envision your main aim, the person you wish to become, not just when you stand alone, but especially when surrounded by others whose approval or criticism could unsettle you. When pressure rises, pause internally, take a breath, and silently affirm your commitment to yourself. Imagine yourself as a flame burning steady within glass, the wind swirling outside but your light undimmed. Each time you choose integrity over conformity, courage over comfort, you strengthen the foundation of your self-discipline and emotional control. This small act of standing firm draws invisible boundaries in every interaction, making your presence quietly commanding without fear or defensiveness. Gradually, living this way brings benefits that transform daily life. You'll sense pride replacing regret as every decision reflects your true self. Others begin to respect your steady confidence, attracted not by loud defiance but by your unmovable gentleness, your willing honesty, and the unobtrusive fire you refuse to hide. Standing firm doesn't make you harsh or isolated. It frees you to join others while staying loyal to your values. Ultimately, The undefeatable spirit that Stoics praise is not mythical, but a steady result of much practice. The more you train your mind to hold this line, the more your calm, silent strength becomes its own form of quiet impact, a light that guides others and a shield that guards the peaceful center of your being. Before each group interaction, remind yourself of one core value and quietly promise to honor it regardless of outside pressure. This simple practice builds self-respect, steadies emotions, and gradually makes standing firm feel natural. Start today and watch your confidence grow. Next, we'll explore why cultivating solitude sharpens your judgment. Subscribe and share your stories to inspire others on their journey. Lesson 7. Cultivate solitude for clear judgment. Imagine a single lantern burning on a windowsill as twilight drapes the world in blue. In the hush between day and night, its flame grows distinct, radiating warmth that seems all the more vivid in the gentle quiet. There are moments in life when such clarity is not only beautiful, but necessary. Many seek certainty among the cacophony, friends' voices, screens glowing with urgent opinions, 1,000 everyday pulls. But true, piercing insight often appears in the presence of calm solitude, when the noise falls away, and your own mind, steady and assured like the silent lantern, illuminates the right path. Yet most of us resist solitude, fearing the unmasked silence or the discomfort of facing ourselves without distractions. There is an inquietude that stirs within the first few moments of aloneness, a restlessness that urges you back to your phone or pulls you toward another conversation. No matter how trivial, you might recognize this impulse, the compulsion to fill every gap in the day with action, music, messages, or movement, all because an empty space in time feels unfamiliar, even threatening. Beneath this urge hides an anxious question. What if, in the quiet, you are met by uncertainty, doubt, or difficult emotions you'd rather not face? This is universal. Everyone, at some point, has fled into distraction rather than risk being alone with their own thoughts and feelings. The cost of this avoidance becomes clear when life asks for a strong decision or a new direction. In those moments when outside influences and internal confusion swirl, you wish for sharpness, perspective, and quiet wisdom, but find only a mental fog. Judgment weakens when it is always caught in noise and company, and emotional mastery suffers amidst too much input from others. To lead a life of impact and discipline, to attract respect, and remain undefeatable in your choices, you must find a way to clear the haze and steady the inner lens through which you see the world. Here lies the transformative power of solitude, a wisdom cherished since Stoic times and as vital now as ever. Solitude, rightly embraced, is not isolation, but the finest training ground for clarity and self-possession. It is in these moments alone that you sift through the debris of voices and impulses that are not your own. Within quiet, your mind is given space to reorder itself. Thoughts rise and fall like waves, but if you stay present, the surface eventually calms, revealing the bedrock of your true priorities and desires. The silent Stoic is not cut off from the world. Rather, they step back to observe, evaluate, and return with a light that cannot be dimmed by passing storms. Picture yourself as a disciplined archer stepping away from the crowd at the festival. Only in the undisturbed field, where eyes are off you and the din fades, does your aim steady and your perception sharpen. The mind, like that archer's arm, grows skillful not purely by repetition, but by practiced reflection and peace. Each period of chosen solitude is a return to your own center, unlocking the insights that fear, comparison, and rushing never allow. As you practice, this becomes a living source of confidence that no one can stir from the outside. You realize you are not meant to be controlled by every passing emotion or every person's expectation. Instead, you become the unmoved center, quietly observing, feeling, and then deciding only when you've listened for your own signal beneath all the world's noise. Gradually, solitude reveals itself as the secret well from which all self-mastery flows. Emotional reactions lose their force. Judgment sharpens not in opposition or rebellion, but in the calm awareness that arises when you give yourself space to think, feel, and simply be. Old fears begin to melt in the warmth of attention. Instead of feeling alone, you sense the internal guidance that the truly disciplined always develop. an unlocking of your deepest mind by the simple, fearless act of being alone with it. Set aside 15 minutes tonight to sit quietly with your thoughts, without technology or interruption. Notice which ideas and feelings arise naturally, and honor your experience with calm presence. With regular solitude, your decisions grow wiser and your inner voice gains power. Begin this practice today, and watch your self-trust and mental clarity steadily deepen. You've discovered the Stoic path to mastering emotion, building inner strength, and sharpening your independent judgment. Thank you for spending your time reflecting and growing with us today. If these insights helped you, please like, comment with your thoughts, and subscribe to our channel for more guidance on your journey.